ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यामनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतां श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरक्षेणं हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी विषमानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Welcome everyone. We'll chant all the verses from Nectar of Instruction. वाचो वेगं मनसः क्रोधवेगं जिह्वा वेगं उदरोपस्थवेगम् एतान् वेगान् यो विषहेत धीरः सर्वामपि मां पृथिवीं सशिष्यात्। अत्याहारः प्रयासश्च प्रजल्पो नियम आग्रहः जनसङ्गश्च लौल्यं च षड्भिर्भक्तिर्विनश्यति। उत्साहानिश्चयात् धैर्यात् तत्तत्कर्म प्रवर्तनात् सङ्गत्यागात् सतो वृत्तेः षड्भिर्भक्तिर्प्रसिद्ध्यति। ददाति प्रतिगृह्णाति गुह्यमाख्याति पृच्छति भुङ्क्ते भोजयते चैव षड्विधं प्रीतिलक्षणम्। कृष्णेति यस्य गिरितं मनसा द्रियेत दीक्षास्ति चेत् प्रणतिभिश्च भजन्तमीशम्। शुश्रूषया भजनविज्ञमनन्यमन्या निन्दादिशून्यहिदमीप्सितसङ्गलब्ध्या दृष्टैः स्वभावजनितैर्वपुषश्च दोषे न प्राकृतत्वमिह भक्तजनस्य पश्येत्। गङ्गाम्बसां न खलु बुधबुधफेन पङ्के ब्रह्माद्रवत्वम् अपगच्छति नीरधर्महि। स्यात् कृष्णनामचरितादिसिताप्यविद्या वित्तोपतप्तसनस्य न रोचिकानु किन्त्वादरादनुदिनं खलु सैव जुष्टा स्वाद्विक्रमाद् भवति तद्गतमूलहन्त्री तन्नामरूपचरितादिसुकीर्तनानो स्मृत्यो क्रमेण रसनामनसि नियोज्य तिष्ठन् व्रजेतनु अनुरागि जनानुगामी कालं नयेदखिलमित्युपदेशसारम् वैकुण्ठाजनितो वरामधुपुरी तत्रापि रासोत्सवात् वृन्दारण्यमुदारपाणिरमणात् तत्रापि गोवर्धनः राधाकुण्डमिहापि गोकुलपदे प्रेमामृता प्रेमामृताप्लावनात् पूर्यान् अस्य विराजतो गिरितटे सेवां विवेकी न कः कर्मीभ्यः परितो हरे प्रियतया व्यक्तिं ययुर्ज्ञानिनस्तेभ्यो ज्ञानविमुक्तभक्तिपरमा प्रेमैकनिष्ठास्ततः तेभ्यस्तः पशुपालपङ्कजदृशस्ताभ्योऽपि साराधिका प्रेष्ठा तत्त्वदीयं तदीयसरसि तान्नाश्रयेत् कः कृती कृष्णस्योच्चये प्रणयवसतिः प्रेयसीभ्योऽपि राधा कुण्डं चास्या मुनिभिरभितस्तादृगेव व्यधायि यत्पृष्ठेरप्यलम् असुलभं किं पुनर्भक्तिभाजाम् तत्प्रेमेदं सकृदपि सरस्नातुराविष्करोति. So verse number 3 for today. Six instructions or 6 qualities favorable for advancement in bhakti. Utsahan, Nishchayat, Dhairya, Tat Karma Pravartanat, Sanga Kriyanat, and Sato Vrittehe. Shadguna. So this verse talks about developing these 6 qualities by which devotional service develops or increases. Prasidhyati. In the previous verse, the word was vinashyati. It gets destroyed. Here, the word is prasidhyati, which means becomes glorified or becomes successful. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. Being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smarana, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna, abandoning the association of non-devotees, and following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So, in the purport, Prabhupada is going to explain each of these qualities and also um, what is bhakti and the glory of bhakti. He first explains what is devotional service. After we have understood what devotional service is and then how uh, difficult it is if one is not sincere, then he goes on to explain the qualities required in pure devotional service. First of all, let's read what is bhakti. So Prabhupada explains that. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation. So first he says it's not some speculation, sentimental speculation. Devotional service is not like or imaginative ecstasy. Huh? Its substance is practical activity. So basically, it is not something which is on the mental platform alone. It means there has to be some practical engagement. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has defined devotional service as. So this is the verse which describes or defines Uttama Bhakti or pure devotional service. So he says Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhi Anavrita Anukulyena Krishnam Shilana Bhakti Uttama. Uttama Bhakti or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruitive karma, impersonal jnana, and all other selfish desires. Hmm. See, in the first verse, we discussed about six urges, correct? Vacho, Vekam, Manisari. Then in the second verse, we discussed about six um, problems that arise due to becoming a victim of these six urges, or six things which we engage in. We will become victimized by the six urges. So, atyahara, prayasascha, prajalpo, niyamagraha, janasangascha, lolyancha. Right? That was described. So, those six things make it difficult to control the six urges. Now, six things which make it easy to control the six urges are given here: enthusiasm, determination, patience. Mhm. So, these qualities will help us to remain a sense controlled and a mind controlled person. Correct. These qualities. Mhm. So, Prabhupada says that it's not a matter of sentimental speculation. It's not Bhakti is not something for someone to sit and think. Bhakti is like this, bhakti is like that. Maybe it is like this, maybe it's like that. No, it is based on scriptures. The instructions given by the Supreme Lord. It is very clearly defined and described. Mm. Uh, so devotional service is practical activity. Now, what do you mean by practical activity? So devotional service is practical activity. So what is meant by practical activity? How do you explain this word or phrase, practical activity? Yes, you can unmute yourself now.
That practical activity which is favorable to Krishna.
Now, what is meant by practical activity?
Something
Which
that
is
has to be done.
physically.
Something which should be done practically, right? So, uh, can you give example?
Chanting of holy names, dressing the
For
deities.
following four regulative principles.
Following
Implement,
the principles is not a practical activity. It's not an activity that you are doing, no?
Prabhu,
Right?
implementing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam in a way, hearing class, hearing these activities, implementing
Yeah,
all.
so correct. So activity means you have to do something practically. Engagement. The body has to be engaged, the mind has to be engaged, and the tongue has to be engaged. That is called practical activity, isn't it? So now, you see, for devotees at different levels of devotional advancement, practical activities will have different examples, isn't it? Like for example, if I'm doing Vaidhi sadhan bhakti, then for me practical activity is something different. If someone is doing raga nuga sadhan bhakti, then for that person, the practical activity may be something different. Different devotees in different situations and different levels of advancement will have different practical activities. Correct? So basically the mind, the body, and the tongue, the speech should be engaged. The senses have to be engaged practically. And for that reason, Srila Prabhupada gave numerous activities to members in iskcon, devotees in iskcon, to practice and engage those activities in the service of Krishna, isn't it? So one has to engage in service. Therefore, next he begins to say, bhakti is a sort of cultivation. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation, as some pseudo yogis teach. Such idle meditation may be good for those who have no information of devotional service. And for this reason, it is sometimes recommended as a way to check distracting materialistic activities. Meditation means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being. Devotional service, however, not only puts an end to all nonsensical mundane activities, it also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. Example given as Sri Prahlad Maharaj recommends, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasin Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. Right? So the 9 process of devotional service. Neha, Mataji, read this.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji. The 9 processes of devotional service are as follows. First, hearing the name and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Second, chanting his glories. Third, remembering the Lord. Fourth, serving the Lord's feet. Fifth, worshipping the deity. Sixth, offering obeisances unto the Lord. Seventh, acting as the Lord's servant. Eighth, making friends with the Lord. Ninth, surrendering oneself fully to the Lord. Shravanam or hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. One should not give oral reception to unauthorized persons, but should approach the proper person as recommended in Bhagavad-gita 4.34. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized
Thank you.
souls
Yeah,
can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Hare
thank
Krishna.
you. So Prabhupada gave us the list of practical activities. And then he says, before you begin these activities, you approach a bona fide spiritual master. Right? So bhakti begins by approaching a bona fide spiritual master. That's the first activity in bhakti. And then you surrender and inquire about spiritual subject matter. So you see, these are certain things which you have to now begin to understand, that whenever a particular subject is brought up, there are certain things which are going to naturally follow. Fine. So whenever Prabhupada is talking about the need of approaching a bona fide spiritual master, he will not just leave the subject matter there itself. He will also further go on to explain what are the qualities of a bona fide spiritual master. It will always be there. Approach a bona fide spiritual master, that subject will always be presented with the qualities of a bona fide spiritual master. Hmm. It's not that just give them half information. Okay, go to a guru. But then, who is a guru? What are the qualities of a guru? That also you are supposed to tell, isn't it? Therefore, Prabhupada will always quote subject matter in this way, that instruction is there to go to a guru, but what are the qualities of such a guru? So then he'll quote these 2, 3 verses which are very prominently found in his purports. One is from Bhagavad-gita 4.34, and the other is this verse from Mundaka Upanishad. It is further recommended in the Mundaka Upanishad, Tad Vijnanartham Sa Gurum Eva Vikachet Samit Panihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. This is the entire verse, right? Samit Panihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. So to understand the transcendental science, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. That this method of submissively receiving transcendental confidential knowledge is not merely based on mental speculation. Fine. So, someone may say, okay, I was looking for a spiritual master, but then unfortunately I did not find anyone, or I did not come across a bona fide personality. So then regards to that, what is quoted is a statement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told to Rupa Goswami. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Vish. So let's read this. Shamala Mataji, Shamala.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad. Yeah, in this regard, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami, Brahmananda Brahmite Kona Bhagayavan Jiva Guru
Bhagyavan Jeev. It's Bhagyavan.
Krishna Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. In the course of traversing in the universal creation of Brahma, some fortunate Lata, the creeper of devotional service. This is all by the grace of Guru and Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 19.151. The material world is a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature Anandamaya, pleasure seeking. They actually want to be free from the confinement of this world of conditional happiness, but not knowing the process of liberation. They are bound to migrate from one species of life to another and from one planet to another. In this way, the living entities are wandering throughout the material universe. When by good fortune one comes in contact with a pure devotee and hears from him patiently, one begins to follow the path of devotional service. Such an opportunity is offered to a person who is sincere. The International Society of Krishna Consciousness is giving such a chance to humanity at large. If by fortune one takes advantage of this opportunity to engage in devotional service, the path of liberation immediately opens.
Thank you, Mataji.
One
Thank you.
Hare
So
Krishna.
here it is said that people are wandering throughout the material universe, living entities, and by good fortune, one comes in contact with a pure devotee. One can come in contact with a pure devotee, or one can come in contact with a representative of a pure devotee. Both ways, isn't it? Uh, Not necessarily a perfect pure devotee, but a representative of a pure devotee or a practicing pure devotee. You know, there are two statements: practicing pure devotee, perfect pure devotee. Perfect pure devotee is someone who has perfected devotional service and become pure. Practicing pure devotee is someone who is on the path of pure devotional service, still practicing it, right? So one who is practicing pure devotional service can also be called a pure devotee, because eventually that person will become a pure devotee. Just like someone is in the first year of engineering, you can still call that person as an engineer, because that person will eventually become an engineer, right? So one comes in contact with the pure devotee of Krishna and hears from his patiently. Then one begins to follow the path of pure devotion service. Such fortunate people are less, but if such a person comes to devotional service, then that person starts engaging in activities of Krishna consciousness, right? So then what quality one should have in the beginning to accept this devotion service, the path of devotion service. So Prabhupada says enthusiasm, utsaha. There has to be enthusiasm, utsaha. One should accept this opportunity to return home, back to Godhead, enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, another word which we can use for enthusiasm is
Utsaha.
yeah, that is in Sanskrit, but in English,
Interest.
one should
Interest.
accept this opportunity to return home back to Godhead very enthusiastically, with interest or with eagerness, being very
Eagerness.
eager. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. Mm. Even in the material world, one has to be very enthusiastic uh, um, in his particular field of activity in order to become successful. So any path we take, one has to be very enthusiastic to become successful. Correct? If one gives up, then one cannot attain success. Problems, difficulties, challenges, hurdles will always come, but then one has to be enthusiastic. A student, businessman, artist, or anyone else who wants success in his life must be enthusiastic. Similarly, one has to be very enthusiastic in devotional service. Enthusiasm means action. But action for whom? The answer is that one should always act for Krishna. Krishna Artha Akhila Cheshta. Krishna Artha Akhila Cheshta. Krishna Artha Akhila Cheshta. What will this mean? Artha means for the sake of, or for the purpose of. For the purpose of whom? For the purpose of Krishna. So Krishna Artha. hmm? Krishna Artha Akhila Cheshta. Akhila means unlimited. And Cheshta means efforts. So one has to put unlimited efforts for the sake of Krishna. One has to make unlimited efforts for the sake of Krishna. That is enthusiasm. Correct?
Akila means unlimited. Chesta means what?
Effort.
Effort.
Hmm. So one has to put unlimited efforts. Now, one may say, why Krishna is so difficult to please? Why I have to work so hard to please Krishna? One may say like that, isn't it? But uh, if you see practically also, in this world, anything we try to do successfully, we have to put lot of efforts. A great number of times we have to try, and then we succeed, isn't it? Many times we need to try, then we succeed. It's not that every effort will fructify. Just like the same example, every seed that the farmer sows doesn't fructify. The farmer sows many seeds, and out of those many seeds, some seeds fructify, isn't it? So if the farmer has this mentality, okay, let me go to the market, I'll buy 10 seeds, and from those 10 seeds, 10 trees will come. It's not going to work. Maybe the farmer has to buy 1,000 seeds, and after those 1,000 seeds, 10 trees will come. Hmm. So always the number of efforts that we need to put to get a desired result is more than the result itself many times. You have to work harder, than the result itself. So here also it says akhila cheshta. You have to put a lot of efforts to please Krishna for the sake of Krishna. One has to, but then it's very natural. If you're putting too much of efforts and you don't get the result, you get frustrated or you get demotivated. It's natural, right? Therefore, then Rup Goswami says, no, you have to have another quality, which is dharya, patience. You put efforts, but then you need to have patience, dharya. Hmm? Now, if you are just enthusiastic, you may become disheartened or disappointed. Next paragraph. Let's read the next paragraph. Sridhi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you. In all phases of life, one has to perform devotional activities under the direction of the spiritual master in order to attain perfection in Bhakti Yoga. It is not that one has to confine or narrow one's activities. Krishna is all pervading. Therefore, nothing is independent of Krishna, as Krishna himself states in Bhagavad Gita 9:4. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina matsthani sarvabhutani na chaham teshvavasthitah. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, one has to make everything favorable for Krishna's service. For example, at present, we are using a dictaphone. The materialist who invented this machine intended it for businessmen or writers of mundane subject matters. He certainly never thought of using the dictaphone in God's service, but we are using this dictaphone to write Krishna conscious literature. Of course, the manufacture of the dictaphone is wholly within the energy of Krishna. As parts of the instrument, including the electronic functions, are made from different combinations and interactions of the five basic types of material energy, namely Bhumi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, and Akash. The inventor used his brain to make this complicated machine, and his brain, as well as the ingredients, were supplied by Krishna. According to the statement of Krishna, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani, everything is dependent on my energy. Thus, the devotee can understand that since nothing is independent of Krishna's energy, everything should be dovetailed in his service.
Yeah, thank you.
Should I continue?
Srila Prabhupada gives a practical example of being enthusiastic. So enthusiasm doesn't just mean I am very eager to do something. It also means to have the skill of doing it. Enthusiasm doesn't just mean the good intention. Okay, I want to do something. No, that good intention should also come with a good intelligence, practical ability. So Srila is saying that an example is being given by him. He is enthusiastic to translate the Sanskrit literatures into English, the previous Acharya's commentaries into English. So out of that enthusiasm, he has devised the means of using a dictaphone. Hmm. So it's his enthusiasm, it's his intelligence, which made him think, okay, I can use a dictaphone in the service of Krishna. Fine. So enthusiasm means you get inspiration, you get ideas, you find ways to serve Krishna. That is enthusiasm. Hmm. It's not just okay, I'm ready to jump around, I'm ready to be always fired up. Enthusiasm doesn't just mean passion, it also means intelligence. It also means uh, being resourceful. So he's saying everything is connected to Krishna, and therefore everything can be used in Krishna seva. So what is lacking if I'm not able to use things in Krishna seva? I'm lacking enthusiasm. Hmm. Fine. So he's giving this example that this dictaphone machine is made up of material ingredients. All are supplied by Krishna. Nothing is independent of Krishna's energy. Therefore, everything should be dovetailed in his service. Now, this quality, then he explains, that's enthusiasm. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha or enthusiasm. So the devotees find the correct means by which everything can be utilized in the service of the Lord. Everything can be utilized in the service of the Lord. Devotees, they find the correct means. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. This is a verse from which book? Which scripture? Which Shastra?
Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu.
Bhakti Rasamrita. Very good. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. So what is Yukta Vairagya? To see everything in relation to Krishna. Krishna Sambandhe. Nirbandha. But not for me. Not for me. For Krishna Seva. Krishna Sambandhe. Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. That's called Yukta Vairagya. Devotional service performed in renunciation. So the execution of devotional service is not a matter of idle meditation, but practical action in the foreground of spiritual life. Fine. No. So what if we are not so enthusiastic? What should we do? If we don't feel enthusiastic, what should we do?
We can associate with the devotees. Those are enthusiastically performing devotional services.
Okay. And
You should have patience and go on trying.
if you're not feeling enthusiastic, we should have patience.
I mean, you go on trying and with faith continue
If you
to.
don't have enthusiasm, what should we do?
Should we read the scriptures to get examples of enthusiastic devotees?
But then you will not have enthusiasm to read also,
Of
no?
devotees.
Huh? What should we do? If you don't have
Devotees
enthusiasm,
Association.
take
Devotees
enthusiasm, take
Association.
it.
Guru Kripa.
Guru Kripa. If you don't have
Getting more.
enthusiasm, what can be the reasons for not having enthusiasm? I'm not doing sufficient Shravanam. That can be one reason. I am not chanting my japa properly. Or
Guru
my
Vaishnava
my
Aparadh.
my chanting is not very attentive. That can be the reason. Vaishnava Ninda, criticism of Vaishnavas. That will also take away utsaha, enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. Or when doubt or sanshaya enters our mind, doubt on the process of Krishna consciousness. Doubt on the process and doubt on the devotees. Sanshaya. Then also enthusiasm goes away. Isn't it? So enthusiasm is very closely connected to Shraddha. The more Shraddha we have, the more enthusiastic we are. The less Shraddha we have, the less enthusiastic we are. Like for example, why everyone is rushing to Kumbh Mela? Because so much of enthusiasm to go to Kumbh Mela, isn't it? You pay so much of money to travel there, then you have to walk for kilometers to reach the place of Snan. You don't have very luxurious and comfortable accommodation facilities. Isn't it? For prasadam also, you may have to stand in queue for a long time. So, but still people are rushing for Kumbh Mela Snan. Why? Because a strong sense of faith is there that, okay, if you go there, then something will happen. We will get it, what we want. So it's because of faith, Shraddha. Faith is there. Or belief, whatever. So enthusiasm is very closely related to faith on two things, the path and the goal. The path and the goal. No. The path and the goal. The goal means the end, where you want to go, what you want to achieve. That's the goal. And the second is path. How do you achieve it? Isn't it? So the goal and the path. So to be enthusiastic always, we have to always keep on hearing about the goal and the path. It's very important. And also hear about people who are successful on that path. To be enthusiastic. Right? So Vaishnava Sangha, when you said associate with devotees, just jumping around with some devotees who are enthusiastic will not help. We have to, we have to, absorb our consciousness in in uh, in the lives of Vaishnavas, devotees who have shown through their examples that the path of bhakti is not easy and difficulties do come on the path of bhakti, and you have to continue to strive or work hard. So two things, have strong faith on the path and the goal. The path and the goal, which comes from Shravanam, hear about it. Then one becomes very enthusiastic. Okay, this is very interesting and this is very helpful, so I should do it. Right? And then fake enthusiasm till you have it. Yes, that is also correct, which means even if you're not feeling enthusiastic, you try to be enthusiastic. Because always tamaguna can take over us, no? So we have to sometimes jerk off that tamaguna. Jerk off means you um, strongly put it aside or throw it away. So that is faking it. You're not enthusiastic, but then you have to jerk off that tamaguna. So we need to fake it. Correct? So enthusiasm is like that. Next, mm, next is patience. So when one is enthusiastic, uh, one may have a problem of getting discouraged if one doesn't get the result. So therefore, Prabhupada immediately passes on to the next topic of patience, though he doesn't look at the in-between quality. What is the quality in between enthusiasm and patience? He skips
Nishya, determination.
determination. So he doesn't take that. Of course, he's going to touch upon it later. So he goes to patience. And then he says, what does he say about patience? He says, next, he says, these activities must be executed with patience, dharya. One should not be impatient in Krishna consciousness. Mhm. Like some people, they always say, I have been chanting for so many years now, so many years and so many years, still nothing is happening, isn't it? Indeed, this Krishna consciousness movement was started single-handedly. And in the beginning, there was no response. So Prabhupada is saying, I also was very patient. I started this movement alone and I didn't get good support or encouragement. There was no response. It is true, Prabhupada worked hard for so many years without any response. Uh, but because we continue to execute our devotional activities with patience, people gradually began to understand the importance of this movement. right? And now they're eagerly participating. Eagerly participating. So in this regard, I always tell one anecdote from a book written by Yamuna Mataji. Not really written by her. It was actually written by her, but then not published by her. It was later on completed by her good friend and a life companion for many decades. So that book is Yamuna Devi, uh, A Life of Unalloyed Devotion or something like that. So there she mentions this anecdote. She was serving in iskcon Kolkata long time ago when Prabhupada was on the planet in 1970s. And iskcon Kolkata was having some managerial issues, which are always there. So there, Prabhupada visited the temple and he was not happy with how things were going on. He saw that the devotees were having a lot of personal issues with each other, complaining, quarreling, not working together. So there was a lot of tension in the entire environment. It is this very natural. Huh? If you travel to some temples uh, and you are used to the ISKCON environment and culture, it's not very difficult to say which temple is doing good and which temple is not doing so good. Yeah. If you spend some time in the temple, just like if you eat a healthy food, you can feel okay, it is healthy. If you don't eat something healthy, after some time your stomach starts giving you, signals. So similarly, if you are associating with devotees in ISKCON for good period of time, and then you start visiting different ISKCON temples or centers, as soon as you spend some time there, you'll begin to know how much healthy this center is, or how much healthy this temple is, and how much healthy this community is. If the devotees are nice, sincere, not doing too much of offenses, appreciating each other, doing service in a humble mood, the temple will have a lot of, positive energy coming out of it, warmth. You will feel always welcome there. But if the temple is not doing so well, then you will not feel much enthusiastic in being there. It's natural. So Prabhupada came to the temple and he understood that things are not going good here. So he wanted to speak to the devotees. He wanted to talk to them, understand what's going wrong. So, once he wanted to have a meeting with all the devotees, the Matajis, the Prabhujis, the Brahmacharis, the Sannyasis, and he called everything. He said, okay, let's have a meeting during afternoon time. So he noticed that all the devotees came to his room, but one Mataji was missing. She was not there. So Prabhupada noticed that. So Prabhupada then told the temple president, who was a brahmachari, where is that Mataji? And he said, I don't know. Why should brahmacharis know about Matajis anyway, isn't it? So he said, I don't know. So very honest brahmachari and sincere brahmachari, I don't know. So then Prabhupada told him, go find out. Go find her, where is she? Hmm. So initially he was like, why should I go find her? I'm first of all brahmachari, second I'm temple president, I've got nothing to do with her. So Prabhupada said, okay, you go find her. Prabhupada insisted. So he came down and that Mataji was not here and there's roaming anywhere. She was just sitting to the lake, beside the street across which the temple is. If you have been to ISKCON Kolkata temple at Minto Park, you know the location of that temple. So just beside that temple, in front of the temple, there is a street. And very close to the temple, across the street, there is a big lake where the water comes from, Ganga River. It's, stored water facility. So she was sitting next to the lake. Uh, so he went and he called her, and then she came up. So then Prabhupada was talking to all of them. So then Prabhupada started telling his story, his journey to United States. So he started telling them from the beginning that how he struggled to get the um, you know permission to go to America. He got a ticket on the Jaladuta, and then he suffered heart attack on the ship. And then after a journey of 30 days, he reached United States. And then how he struggled there to preach Krishna consciousness. And then when Prabhupada was telling all that, suddenly there were some tears in his eyes. Srila Prabhupada's eyes. Prabhupada became a little emotional. So then Prabhupada told the devotees, looking very deeply in their eyes, he told that, don't think it was easy for me. It was not easy for me. It was very difficult for me. Don't think it was easy for me. But then I continued with utsaha, nishchaya, and dharya, enthusiasm, determination, and patience. So he said, I continued with enthusiasm, determination, and patience. I continued. So Mataji quotes this anecdote that how Prabhupada from his life showed that. And then once a devotee asked Prabhupada, what is more important, enthusiasm or patience? Hmm?
Patience.
What is more important?
Enthusiasm is more important.
Why?
Utsaha.
At least we will begin a devotional activity by enthusiasm. Then later on we can have patience for it to fructify.
Hmm. Yes. So Prabhupada was asked which quality is more important. Prabhupada said enthusiasm is more important. He said, first be enthusiastic, then you can be patient. He said, if you will be patient in the beginning itself, you will not do anything, right? So he said, first be enthusiastic, and then you be patient. That okay, Krishna will give me the results. But first be enthusiastic. It's very important. And then be patient. Then you, okay, let's leave it on Krishna. Krishna will help. So he says enthusiasm is more important. We should be enthusiastic first and then we should be patient. And actually, uh, what is wrong is too much of enthusiasm, which is born out of Rajaguna, mode of passion. Then you become frustrated. You know. So one should not have too much of enthusiasm unnecessarily. One should be little balanced. Enthusiasm should be, you know, generated from sattva guna or good intelligence, not just mere passion. That's not good. So that kind of enthusiasm comes from understanding. Determined enthusiasm comes from understanding, from knowledge. And an explosion of enthusiasm is just based on feelings, isn't it? Some people may have a lot of enthusiasm, but it's just based on feelings, emotions. But then one's determined enthusiasm will come from good knowledge or understanding of what one is doing, what one is pursuing, what is the path, isn't it? Right. Therefore, one reason for Srila Prabhupada to implement the study of books like Bhagavad-gita, etc., and courses like Bhakti-sastri and Bhakti-vaiva was to make devotees more stable in their Krishna consciousness. Stable, knowledgeable, and stable. Do not just run here and there. Oh, I'm not getting any success with Prabhupada. Let me try some other Babaji or go to some other institute or now start doing yogasana now. No, not go here and there, run here and there, try different things. Have faith on what you are doing, the path you are pursuing. So you wanted devotees to have more knowledge of it, what we are doing, to understand it very scientifically, right? So that's why enthusiasm is required. Otherwise, if we have too much of passion, we'll only destroy things. So this patience is a natural result of enthusiasm. This patience is not born out of tamoguna. This patience is born out of uh, based on understanding that the process is time taking, and I'm making progress, but then because the journey is long, it is taking me time to make progress in Krishna consciousness. It's not that I'm not progressing, but the journey is long and I'm making progress slowly, moving forward. Right? Okay. Okay. Any questions so far? No.
How to keep the enthusiasm sustained, Prabhuji? How to keep a...
It's a good question, Mataji. How to keep enthusiasm sustained? It will not always be. From Madhurya Kadamini, we have studied, Vishwanath Yogi Thakur says, Ghana Tarala. I mean, sometimes it's very strong, sometimes it's very weak, or, So, the point is, it's all about your foundation. What is the purpose of Krishna consciousness that you started Krishna consciousness with? And what is your goal? That will always keep you connected to Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, just like I'll give an example. Let's say a ship is sailing from one shore to the other shore. And the ship, uh, it's natural, isn't it? Before you begin the journey, you have already marked a path which you are going to follow to reach the destination, right or wrong? Isn't it? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it's natural. You're not going to make the path when you're already in the sea. No, you'll already, have the path before you set out, isn't it? But then, though you have decided the path, you have started sailing, is it possible or not that suddenly a strong gust of wind will come and take the ship away from the path? It's possible. That's not in your hand, isn't it? Correct? So, can anyone say that I will sail from this shore to that shore without even drifting an inch from that path? No one can say so. Because of situations and circumstances, the ship is going to go here and there. But what will keep that person move towards the destination? He should not lose the path. The ship should not lose the path. The ship should always have the focus on the path. Then the person, even if drifts away for some time, will come back. Isn't it? Will come back. So little bit up and down here and there will always be there in Bhakti. But then if your foundation is strong and you are regularly doing Shravanam, Kirtanam, you are focused on the goal and the path, you will come back. Come back to it. Isn't it? That will be there. So we should always continue the process of Shravan Kirtan, stay in association. Then
Thank you.
enthusiasm will come.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Enthusiasm will also come. Okay, we'll read the next paragraph. Srila Prabhupada talks on patience. Can you give some, before we go to patience, can you give some examples from scriptures of devotees who showed extreme level of patience, waiting for Krishna's mercy?
Prahlad Maharaj.
How?
He underwent so much of suffering for so long time.
So that is an example of patience or tolerance?
Okay, it is tolerance, Prabhuji.
Kunti Maharani.
Kunti Maharani, how was she patient and what was she patient about? Getting the kingdom?
No, but she suffered a lot.
So then, okay, when you say she suffered a lot, then more relatable quality will be tolerance, no? Or forbearance. When you say patience, patience means you are
Prabhupada,
expecting a result, and you have a desire, and then you are waiting for time to get it fulfilled. And you may wait for long. It's patience.
Prabhupada is the example for
Bharat
perfect.
Maharaj,
Jada Bharat.
how Jalad Bharat? Patience for what? He was exhibiting patience for what?
He went through.
No, patience, certain aspiration, and you are waiting for long time for it to get fulfilled.
Bhagirath,
Bhagirath.
to get the Ganges down to earth.
So, okay, fine.
Shabri.
He's trying for long, long, long time. Yes. And then
Shabri.
Shabari, she was patiently waiting for Lord Ramchandra to come and fulfill that, prophecy of her guru.
Ahilya.
And Ahilya. Well, as a stone, she could not help but be patient, man. There was no choice. In the form of stone, you can't do much. You can't do anything. So you're forced to be patient. But yes, okay. Mm. In Govardhan Parikrama, we meet this personality, very patient. Hmm? Who? Can't hear you, Paramgat.
That puchdi ka lota.
Puchli ka lota baba. You know that pastime. He's a coward boyfriend of Krishna, and when Krishna was going away from Vrindavan to Mathura, so he checked Krishna's progress journey at that point, at that spot, and then Krishna told, "Don't worry, just wait here. I am coming back soon." And then Krishna never went back. I mean, in that form, or met that personality, Lota Baba, and then he's waiting since then. Since when he's waiting. Krishna will come. Krishna will come. Krishna will fulfill his words. Very patient. So there are examples of such personalities. Very patient, patiently waiting for Krishna's mercy. Next. So these activities must be executed with patience. One should not be impatient in Krishna consciousness. And then you see again, Prabhupada is telling the same thing. Indeed, this Krishna consciousness movement was starting single-handedly. And in the beginning, there was no response. But because we continued to execute our devotional activities with patience, people gradually began to understand the importance of this movement. And now they're eagerly participating. Okay, let's read. Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One doubt.
Yeah.
Vishwamitra, to get Rajarishi post, he has did lot of tapasya. Will it be considered in this one?
Yeah, why not? Yes, you can say in one sense. At least he was very determined, you can say. Determined, very determined. He was trying again and again and again and again. Very determined to get that achievement, reward.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Sadar Pranam. These activities must be executed with patience. One should not be impatient in Krishna consciousness. Indeed, this Krishna consciousness movement was started single handedly, and in the beginning there was no response. But because we continued to execute our devotional activities with patience, people gradually began to understand the importance of this movement, and now they are eagerly participating. One should not be impatient in discharging devotional service but should take instructions from the spiritual master and execute them with patience, depending on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. The successful execution of Krishna conscious activities require both patience and confidence. A newly married girl naturally expects offspring from her husband, but she cannot expect to have them immediately after marriage. Of course, as soon as she is married, she can attempt to get a child, but she must surrender to her husband, confident that her child will develop and be born in due time. Similarly, in devotional service, surrender means that one has to become confident. The devotee thinks, Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will surely protect me and give me help for the successful execution of devotional service. This is called confidence.
Thank
As
you.
explained,
Thank you much.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhupada's saying here, one should execute with patience, depending on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So, this is very interesting, you see. Material concept of action is what? Material concept of action is I'll work very hard, I'll put my 100%, I'll get the result. But the problem in the field of devotional service is you are working very hard, you're putting your 100%, still you may not get the result. Why? Krishna may not give it to you. Krishna may take his time to give it to you. Right? So then you have to accept this fact that Krishna is an independent personality. He doesn't, uh, you know, uh, he's not depending on my efforts. Okay, I'm putting 100% efforts. He is bound to give me success now itself. He is free. He is a supreme Lord. He is independent. So then that dependence on Krishna, on the mercy of Krishna, will force one to become patient. Okay, let me wait for Krishna's mercy. Let me wait for Krishna's mercy. Let me wait for Krishna's mercy. Right? So that's very important. So you see, if someone is just patient, that's not good. One has to put a lot of efforts and then be patient. I mean, depend on Krishna. So Prabhupada says the successful execution of Krishna conscious activities requires both patience and then confidence. Then it takes us to the third quality, confidence. What is that confidence? That confidence is a trust. Again, it's a faith that Krishna will not cheat me. Krishna will not betray me. My spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, is not going to leave me. They will not forget what efforts I have put. They'll not forget that I'm trying my best. That confidence or faith or trust is required. So if that faith or trust is not there, I lose my patience. And if I lose my patience, then I'll want to do something else. I'll just try something new, something different. Isn't it? It's very important. Then one will not continue on the same path. So that confidence is needed. Confidence means basically faith or trust. It's not self-confidence. It is confidence on Krishna and Guru. Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. The parampara. That confidence is needed. That is called nishchaya. Utsaha nishchay. Nishchay means strong determination. It requires both patience and confidence. So, example given by Prabhupada is a newly married girl. She is very enthusiastic to have a baby, but then she needs to wait for 9 months. Then she'll get the baby, isn't it? Or if let's say the husband does not impregnate her with a child, then she will not get a child. So she'll have to please the husband, make the husband happy so that the husband will impregnate her with a child. Then after that act of impregnation is done, Still, she will have to wait for 9 months. Then she will have the child, right? So she needs to have that confidence. That let's say a girl gets married to a boy, and the boy is not making her pregnant. Now, if the girl starts thinking, maybe my husband is impotent, he cannot produce a child. She may think like that. Then, um, then she may think, okay, now I'll never have any physical union with my husband. So she will never have a child. So she has to have faith that no, my husband is not impotent. You know, he has that strength to give me a child. Similarly, a devotee has to have that faith that no, my spiritual master is not important. Srila Prabhupada is not important. This parampara is not false or important parampara. No, it's a pure parampara. Our acharyas are pure. They can give us pure Krishna consciousness, or they can take us back to Godhead. But I need to be patient. I need to have that confidence. Right? So that Vishwas, Nishchay. And then Prabhupada quotes from a song of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Avashya Rakshube Krishna e Vishwasa Palana. That Krishna will always protect me and help me for the successful execution of the service. This is called confidence. Okay. Hmm. Can you give some examples of devotees in the iskcon movement who showed great determination?
His Holiness Gopal Krishna Swami Maharaj.
Okay, give specific, when you give an example, tell a specific incident which showed that quality. As such, all the great devotees will have these good qualities. But specific example, okay, how this devotee showed determination, nishchaya, confidence. Paramgati Prabhu, you have to unmute yourself, Prabhu.
Yeah. His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. So he was fighting for the Juhu temple, and they had to go through so many things, but still they were determined. It was a long fight, actually, as is mentioned in the book, also the Juhu story for getting the temple.
Correct. So you showed great determination to do that. Very true. The book Salted Bread, of the devotee struggle in former USSR, isn't it? Russia. Great determination. Correct. You should read that book Salted Bread if you have not read it. Or you should go on YouTube and search for Salted Bread drama by Radha Gopinath, Temple Devotees. I think that drama is there on YouTube. So you can watch that drama. It's for 2 hours. Very nice. Salted Bread by Radha Gopinath devotees. So they showed such great determination to practice Krishna consciousness in Russia. Very great determination. We are talking about contemporary times, not something in the past. Very great determination. Uh, then, any other example of devotees showing great determination?
Prabhuji, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He is the true example of Utsaha, Nishchaya, and Dhirya all
A
together.
great determination in what context?
Great determination is, as we see, Maharaj is not like physically, Maharaj is not that much well. But once I heard a statement of Maharaj, like Maharaj say that when I was in good health, I used to travel all over the world 10 times in a year. But right now, I'm just able to do it 5 times.
Yeah, so of course, very great example of determination. The the only reason he is still in that body is because of his determination. the reason he is in that body and still managing is just because of his strong determination to stay and help Prabhupada's movement, isn't it? Without that determination, it would not be possible. When His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj was admitted in hospital for the first time because after his brain stroke in the year 2000, I think 8 it was 2008 or 9. So he was admitted in the hospital in a very serious situation, and His Holiness Gopalakrishna Maharaj told uh, Jayapataka Swami Maharaj's disciple in Juhu temple, the temple president, don't worry, he is a great fighter. He'll come out of it soon. He said this. He's a great fighter. He'll come out of it soon. So actually, it is to fight back to life, and that Maharaj requires great determination, very great determination. So yeah, such examples are there of strong, very strong determination to continue working very hard to push this Krishna consciousness movement.
There is one recent example of Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, where he had fallen and had a rib fracture, but he did not want to disclose that he's sick, did not want to frighten the devotees who get unnecessarily panic. So he walked without a wheelchair, he walked up to the ambulance. Prabhuji, I think you had related us this incident in one of the
that was when Maharaj, after some days, he left his body, right?
Yes.
So that was there. Well, more than that incident for determination for Maharaj, I would better give the example of his every day going for Mangal Aarti and doing Aarti in the temple. That shows his determination, every day going to the altar and doing that Aarti. That is very strong determination, not missing it out on any day. And especially, though it was difficult for him to even lift those paraphernalias, the lamp and the chamara, and still with great uh, enthusiasm, he would lift those articles and offer it to the Supreme Lord. Isn't it? So that was visibly seen actually. When Maharaj would do Aarti, you could see that strain and stress on his face, because of lifting those articles, the lamp and the chamara. But still he would do it. Still he would do it. So that's determination to persist. Like that, so many examples are there. Many, many examples are there of determination. Uh, Great determination, isn't it?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hmm.
Similar to same this attending a Mangalarti incident I heard from my Shiksha Guru. Name I'm maybe Savyasachi Prabhu from Gujarat region. One day he and his god brother going for some program. That time tragic accident took place. In that side by god brother died during night. So he called other devotees, and even these panic situations, the next day Mangalarti he attended in the temple.
Yes, yes. So many examples are there. No? The example of His Holiness Kadam Kanan Swami Maharaj, who was shot in the bathroom, in the toilet. You know that, isn't it? He was shot. There was a fire, gunfire on. And still he continued to serve with strong determination in the movement. Not that, okay, I am now, yeah, very good example. Bhakti Raghav Maharaj lost his leg when there was a bomb explosion in Mayapur temple. Mhm. Um, so then still he continues to preach all over the world using those crutch. He's dancing also, everything is doing. So strongly determined, such strong determination. Right. Yes, Radhanath Maharaj, you read his book Journey Home. Great determination. So we have examples like that. Strong determination of faith is there. So that determination comes from faith. Avishya Rakshube Krishna E Vishwasa Padana. One should have this faith. Fine. Let's move on to the next quality. So after determination is explained, one thing which is very important, that one should think, because Krishna has given me this seva or service, he will also give me the protection to be able to make it successful. That is having faith that Krishna will protect me. And we read about this quality of determination in Bhagavad Gita, right? Do you remember which chapter? A very starking example was given in Bhagavad Gita. Which chapter? Prabhupada explain this quality with an example in Bhagavad Gita. Quality of determination. In Bhagavad Gita, which quality, which chapter, which verse, which story? Strong determination.
18.66.
What was the story? No, Kiran Mai Mataji said it correct. The story of the
Sparrow.
Which chapter was that? Now you remember the chapter? After you remember the sparrow? Chapter?
Chapter 16.
16. No. Why it should be 16? 16 talks about divine and demoniac personalities or natures. Chapter 6. Qualities of a sparrow. Verse number 24. 624. Right? So there he gives this example of sparrow. And he says, God helps those who help themselves. So determination comes from enthusiasm. And because always will not get the result, we should be patient. Right? So be determined, be enthusiastic, be patient. But do what? Do what? Next. Tat tat karma pravartanat. Tat tat karma pravartanat. Do what? Do what has been done by the acharyas. The different activities. Tat tat karma pravartanat. Right? Tat tat karma means those activities which are done by the previous acharyas. Like hearing, chanting, same activities, basically. Tat tat karma pravartana. It's like do the routine work again and again and again. Basically pointing towards Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Do it again and again. Tat tat karma pravartana. As already explained, Nagarajan Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna. As already explained, one should not be idle but should be very enthusiastic about executing the regulative principles. Tat tat karma pravartanat. Neglect of the regulative principles will destroy devotional service. In this Krishna conscious movement, there are four basic regulative principles: forbidding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. A devotee must be very enthusiastic about following these principles. If he becomes slack in following any of them, his progress will certainly be checked. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore recommends Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat. One must strictly follow the regulative principles of Vaidhi Bhakti. In addition to these four prohibitions, Yama, there are positive regulative principles, Niyama, such as the daily chanting of 16 rounds on Japamala beads. These regulative activities must be faithfully performed with enthusiasm. This is called Tattat Karma Pravartanada, or varied engagement in devotional service. Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Furthermore, in order to be successful in devotional service, one must give up the association of undesirable people. This includes karmis, jnanis, yogis, and other non-devotees. Once, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked by one of his householder devotee about the general principles of Vaishnavism, as well as the general routine activities of the Vaishnava, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately replied, Asat Sanga Tyaga, Yei Vaishnava Achara. Characteristically, a Vaishnava is one who gives up the association of worldly people or non-devotees. Srila Narottama Thakura has therefore recommended Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sane Vasha. One has to live in the company of pure devotees and execute the regulative principles laid down by the previous acharyas. The six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, and Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami. If one lives in the association of devotees, there is little chance of association with non-devotees. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is opening many centers just to invite people to live in the company of devotees and practice the regulative principles of spiritual life. Devotional service means transcendental activities. On the transcendental platform, there is no contamination by the three modes of material nature. This is called Vishuddha Sattva, the platform of pure goodness, or goodness free from contamination by the qualities of passion and ignorance. In this Krishna consciousness movement, we require everyone to rise early in the morning by 4 a.m. and attend Mangalarti or morning worship. Then read Srimad Bhagavatam, perform Kirtana, and so forth. Thus, we hold continuous activities in devotional service 24 hours daily. This is called Sato Vritti, or following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, who expertly filled every moment of time with Krishna consciousness activities.
Thank you,
If
Prabhu.
one correct.
So he says one should be very enthusiastic about executing the regulated principles. Neglect of the regulated principles will destroy devotional service. Hmm? If he becomes slack in following any of them, his progress will certainly be checked. Hmm? So this is very important. Therefore, it's nice that we have a routine. Very important. It's not something new that you are hearing. Even materialistic people, they follow a routine. Time to get up, time to go for the morning walk, time to go to the gym, time for the breakfast, then time for reading, time for their and everything. So just like that, a devotee should also follow a spiritual routine, uh, isn't it? And follow that very strongly, sincerely. Have a routine. Be always actively engaged in activities of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Rupa Goswami recommends tat tat karma pravartana. It means repetition of those activities again and again, again and again, again and again. Repeatedly doing it. Hmm? Tat tat karma pravartana. Uh, in addition to four prohibitions, there are four positive regulative principles. These regulative principles must be faithfully performed with enthusiasm. And then next is tat tat karma pravartanat sanga tyagat, giving association of uh, wrong people. Hmm. So sanga tyagat, what kind of sanga has to be given up? Asat sanga tyag e Vaishnava achar, worldly people or non-devotees, giving up their association and then staying in the association of devotees. Charana sevi bhakta sanevas. So one should live in the company of pure devotees and execute Krishna consciousness. If one lives in the association of devotees, there is little chance of associating with non-devotees. Hmm. Finally, he says, Sato vrittehe. Sato vritte means you engage in activities which were done by the previous acharyas. Right? Srila Prabhupada is saying, follow the routine. Get up early in the morning by 4 a.m., attend Mangalarti, then chant your japa, then read or hear Srimad Bhagavatam, perform Kirtana. This is called Satovritte, or following the footsteps of the previous acharyas. Satovritti. Vritti means engagement. Vritti also means occupation. So he's saying Satovritte, have the occupation same as the previous acharyas. Have their occupation. Do what they have done. That's how Satovritte. Execute the activities that they have done. And of all the activities, the most important activities, chanting of Hare Krishna. Isn't it? That also possible early morning chanting. That's the most important activity. Further we read. If one strictly follows, okay, Neha Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. If one strictly follows the advice given in this verse by Srila Rupa Goswami, namely being enthusiastic, being confident, being patient, giving up the association of unwanted persons, following the regulative principles, and remaining in the association of devotees, one is sure to advance in devotional service. In this regard, Srila Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks that the cultivation of knowledge by philosophical speculation, the collection of mundane opulence by the advancement of fruitive activities, and the desire for yoga siddhis, material perfections, are all contrary to the principles of devotional service. One has to become thoroughly callous to such non-permanent activities and turn his intention instead to the regulative principles of devotional service. According to Bhagavad Gita 2.69, या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागर्ति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage.
Thank you.
Engagement. Hare Krishna.
So activities everyone is engaged in, right? Different people engage in different kinds of activities. Those who are in Sattva-guna, they'll be very active from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. roughly. Those who are in Rajoguna, they'll be very active from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And those who are in Tamoguna, they'll be very active from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. So everyone is active, but then find out the time period when you are most active. And what are you active in? Isn't it? So those who are in goodness, they will try to be more activity in the early morning hours. Those who are in passion, they are very active from 10 to 6. Whereas in ignorance, they are very active from 6 to 2 a.m. It is further stated in the 10th canto. All the mental speculators and fruitive actors may perform great austerities and penances, they still fall down because they do not have information about the lotus feet of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord, however, never fall down. In Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead shows Arjuna, Kaunteya pratijanihi, name bhaktaha pranashyati, O son of Kunti, declared boldly that my devotee never perishes. Again in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Neha vikramanashasti, pratyavayona vidyate, swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato kayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Let's read this paragraph now. Salam, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. May I? Devotional service is so pure and perfect that once having begun, one is forcibly dragged to ultimate success. Sometimes a person will give up his ordinary material engagements and out of sentiment take shelter of the lotus feet of Supreme Lord and thus begin the preliminary execution of devotional service. Even if such an immature devotee falls down, there is no loss on his part. On the other hand, what is the gain of one who executes the prescribed duties according to Varna and Ashrama, but does not take to devotional service? Although a fallen devotee may take his next birth in a low family, his devotional service will nonetheless resume from where it left off. Devotional service is ahetuki apratihata. It is not the effect of any mundane cause, nor can it be terminated by any mundane cause or permanently curtailed by any material interruption. Therefore, a devotee should be confident about his engagement and should not be very interested in the activities of karmis, jnanis, and yogis.
Thank you. What is Prabhupada trying to say in this paragraph? What is Srila Prabhupada trying to say in this paragraph?
Prabhuji, Prabhupada is giving an kind of assurance that on this path there is at least there is no loss. If you make a little effort, you can say that you'll be in some profit. There is no loss at all.
In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a verse which says that on this path of bhakti, if you run, and that also you run with your eyes closed. Now, when you run with your eyes closed, you will fall, isn't it? Mostly, right? But it says you run on this path even with your eyes closed. You know, still there's no loss. Which means that even if someone who is not very intelligent, who is just, a foolish person who has childlike enthusiasm, that person jumps into the path of bhakti, and that person just does something crazily without even understanding, let's say, the science of devotional service, without even taking proper precautions, without even giving a lot of, you know, lot of attention to the details, but that person just does it some or other. So, the path of bhakti is so benefiting that that person has gained a lot. And Prabhupada is saying, even if that person falls short of executing duties towards, let's say, the parents, towards the society, towards your family, towards people in general, your ancestors, to the demigods, to other living beings, to anyone, you fall short of fulfilling those duties. And because of that, you may take birth or even engage in some sinful activity. And because of that, take birth in a low family in the next life. Still, that devotional service is going to remain. And he says that is the great gain of that person, a great gain of that person. So, but which devotional service he is talking about? He's saying, okay, pure devotional service. Devotional service, it is ahetuki and apratihata. That devotional service. Which means that feeling of utter dependence on Krishna and practical surrender to Krishna. Even if that is momentary in one's life, that momentary dependence on Krishna is much more precious than many other things achieved in life. Right? And says that is never lost. That is always you have in your account. It's a gain. So why is he quoting something like that here in this purport? Because he wants to say that be enthusiastic on this path. have determination, be patient. You're not losing anything. Give it a try. Keep doing it. Even if you see externally nothing is happening, don't worry, no problem. Just go on. Just do it. So he's encouraging. He's encouraging, because let me tell you honestly, sometimes the results of bhakti may not become visible in your life. It's not because, we have sometimes lot of past karma, which will put great obstacles on our path of bhakti or will stop us from experiencing what we want to experience. And therefore, though we are working very hard, we are trying very hard, still we may not see the result. Because if you look at it carefully, let's say this is the life I started devotional service with almost zero background. And then in my past, I have millions and billions and trillions of lifetimes when I have not done bhakti. So in this life also, for 10, 20, 50, 25, 30, 40 years, I was not doing devotional service. And then suddenly I take to devotional service. And then I expect, now I'll become a pure devotee of Krishna immediately. No, not a very reasonable expectation. So one may have to work very hard and still may not get that result in this lifetime also. It's possible. Hmm. So one may think, now let's me give it up. It's very boring, very, very frustrating. I'm not successful. We give it up. So that should not be there. Prabhupada is saying, no, don't give it. Don't. Continue. Continue. Continue putting efforts. Continue doing that. Mhm. So he's encouraging with knowledge. Okay, continue. There are certainly many good qualities amongst fruitive actors, philosophical speculators, and mystic yogis, but all good qualities automatically develop in the character of a devotee. No extraneous endeavor is needed. As confirmed by Srimad Bhagavatam, all the good qualities of a demigods manifest progressively in one who has developed pure devotional service. Because a devotee is not interested in any material activity, he does not become materially contaminated, is immediately situated on the platform of transcendental life. However, one who engages in mundane activity, be he a so-called jnani, yogi, karmi, philanthropist, nationalist, or whatever, cannot attain the highest stage of Mahatma. He remains a Duratma, a crippled-minded person. According to Bhagavad-gita, Mahatmanas Mahampartha Devim Prakriti Bhajanti Ananyo Manasa Gyatva Bhutadim Afyayam. Someone may say, well, if I am very enthusiastic in making money, I can become a billionaire. If I am very enthusiastic in becoming famous in this world, I can become the most famous man or woman in the world. So Prabhupada says, okay, you may become very rich, you may become very famous, you may get a lot of material success, you may also get a lot of knowledge, you may also get a lot of siddhis, but at the end you will remain a duratma. You cannot become a Mahatma. Means, if you want to put efforts in those directions, then Prabhupada is saying, yes, you can put a lot of efforts in those directions. You may get some success also, but at the end, you will still remain a duratma. But you will become a Mahatma if you engage in devotional service. Mahatma anastu mang partha devim prakriti mashritaha bhajanti ananyo manasa gyatva bhutade avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Since all the devotees of the Lord are under the protection of His supreme potency, they should not deviate from the path of devotional service and take to the path of karmi, jnani, or yogi. See, what is he saying? Since all the devotees are under the protection of His supreme potency, they should not deviate from the path. Deviation means what? I don't have faith. So don't deviate. Take to other paths. Stay on that path. And to stay on that path itself, if I'm staying on that path, to stay on that path itself is called utsaha nishchaya dhairya tat karma pravartanat, enthusiastically executing the regulative activities of devotional service with patience and confidence. In this way, one can advance in devotional service without hindrance. Right? So stay on that path and you can continue practice. Therefore, one thing which I always found very interesting about iskcon is, especially if you look at, it's true for everyone, but something which is um, strongly spoken about the quality of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, because he was in management, lot of managerial uh, things he would get involved in. So anything would happen, and anyone would suggest, Maharaj, remove him from iskcon. Or that devotee would also say, I want to leave iskcon. So Maharaj's answer would always be, no, to stay, to stay. You know, he would never said, okay, fine, go somewhere, try your luck, and then come back again. He said, you stay. Somehow or other you stay. See, always emphasized on that, like if you go to Maharaj and say, Maharaj, I want to change temple because I have this problem, or if that person is like, otherwise I'll leave iskcon. So you say, okay, you change temple. He will tell that person to move from one temple to another temple. He will even ask the person to move from one country to another country. But at the end, you stay in iskcon. Be with iskcon. Be in the movement of Srila Prabhupada. I remember some example I heard. So one devotee was there, and he wanted to take sannyas, but then somehow or other he was not getting sannyas in his farm. So he was like, okay, I'll go to Gaudiya Math and take sannyas, and then I'll become a guru and I'll preach Krishna consciousness. And then when Maharaj came to know, he had not much contact with that devotee as such. Not even it was in his area of service. So he went to that devotee and told him, he gave him an offer. You travel with me for 6 months, I'll give you sannyas. So such kind of tactics Maharaj would use just to keep the person in the movement. Just to keep the person in the movement. You stay in the movement. So that is something, this is how they applied the philosophy very practically, the teachings practically of Prabhupada, the presentation of Krishna consciousness. And where from did they learn it? They learned it from Prabhupada. Prabhupada was also the same. He never told any devotee, get lost, get out. No, never, every time, okay, maybe he was angry, he would somehow punish someone, but never that you leave iskcon. No, come back, be with the devotees, be in the movement, do some seva, isn't it? Continue. So that's what he encouraged. So this is an important lesson to learn for oneself as well as for other devotees. Right? Come back. Or be in iskcon, stay in the movement, in the association of devotees. Practice Krishna consciousness.
Even Guruji, this is one of the instruction Gopal Krishna, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj has given
Yeah,
in his
in his
last
will.
instruction.
In his
Yes.
will. to the
Never leave
devotees.
iskcon.
Never leave iskcon. Yes. This was something which Maharaj even said in one of his Vyas Puja lectures long time ago. I think it was 2011 or 12. He even said from the asana on the stage or in front of thousands of devotees, he said that even if I fall down, don't leave iskcon. He said something like that also, that even if I fall down, don't leave iskcon. Mm. He said something like that. So, being in association is important. ISKCON basically means being in the association of devotees, practicing. That's what ISKCON means. Not just, okay, the structure, but the association. Main thing is that association, the practice of Krishna consciousness. Being. And most importantly, Srila Prabhupada. When you say ISKCON, it means Prabhupada. Follow the teachings of Prabhupada. That's what ISKCON is. Paramgati Prabhu. Can't hear you.
Hare Krishna. Is it okay? Prabhuji, the last line, Srila Prabhupada says that in this way one can advance in devotional service without hindrance, right? So we saw the whole purport was talking about many obstacles and everything coming up and still should continue. And then in the last, it is saying without hindrance means there would be obstacles, there would be certain problems, but still if you have patience, if you have determination, you can continue. So how is it that if you follow this without hindrance, so what is it Srila Prabhupada really talking about?
What Prabhupada is talking about here is that even let's say you exhibit all these qualities, you are very enthusiastic, you are very determined, you are very patient, eh, and apparently still in your life you are doing sadhana very well. Still, apparently, it will appear that things are not going fine in my life. And those things may be because of our past karma, or those things may be because of the arrangement of the Supreme Lord. Which means what? My expectation will not always be my experience. Even if I'm doing everything completely well. So at that time, one will start doubting that either the process is wrong, the path is wrong, isn't it? Or I'm not doing something well, so I need to learn something extra, maybe go to some other guru, try some other technique of chanting, maybe instead of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, let me start chanting Radha Nam or whatever, isn't it? So something is wrong. So Prabhupada is saying, no, even if everything is fine and still apparently you are facing obstacles in your spiritual life, you should have this faith and understanding you are making progress. You are still making progress. Because, as I had shown that graph from the explanation given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini, let's say, let's say, you are here and you have to go here. It's your destination and this is your start point.
So it
So
is
you
not
can't see
loaded yet.
not loaded yet. I think it should be loaded by now.
Done,
No,
we are able to.
you're able to see.
Yeah.
Please don't mark on the screen. Now, you don't touch the screen, otherwise then different lines get drawn on the screen. Someone, can you help me and know how to disable marking by other participants? I always struggle with this feature of Zoom. Earlier, the old version did not have this problem. Only I could mark, but now everyone can mark.
You have
So
to
let's say, huh?
go ahead, go
So
ahead.
let's say this is the starting point. You can see now, Paramgati Prabhu.
I'm still seeing hi, hola, siya, the bold text.
Sure. So you have to press the control B now, then I think then you
Okay,
can end.
let me. Yes, now I can see, bro.
Yeah. So let's say this is the starting point, the black circle. Please don't mark on the screen requesting you. Can you all keep your fingers little away from the phone? So the black mark is the beginning point and let's say the red mark is the end point. So then what is progress? Now if I'm making my journey in this way, there are lots of ups and downs. But am I not progressing? I'm still progressing now. Because I covered some distance from the black to the red. I am progressing. But when these moments come in life, these moments when you are here, when you are here, we are here, then at that time one starts losing faith, or one becomes very discouraged, confused. Those lows come in life. But still you are making progress, no? So therefore, Prabhupada mentions in the purport summaries, if you take to this path, you're sure to achieve success. Something like that, very strongly says. You're sure to achieve success. If you continue to do what you're supposed to do, you're sure to achieve success. So uh, that understanding we need to have, that this is all part of the journey of making progress. But obstacles will always be there, no? Prabhupada faced so many obstacles. Even sincere devotees, they face a lot of obstacles. That will be there. That's a part of the whole thing, process. So it will be there. Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you mentioned that our enthusiasm is in the proportionate to Shraddha. So more Shraddha we have,
Enthusiasm,
yeah,
determination, yes.
yeah. But we see that when we say enter into the Krishna consciousness, our Shraddha is less, but our enthusiasm is high. And when
Ashraddha is?
less and enthusiasm is high, initially we remain
That is
more
not
startup.
enthusiasm, no, Prabhu. That is not the enthusiasm that Prabhupada is talking about. That is just, uh, that is just passion. That is Rajoguna. Mhm. Just like you can be passionate about something. So that is just Rajoguna, born of material nature, the quality. So that's therefore your enthusiasm will be only about certain things. That's the quality of enthusiasm born out of passion. You are enthusiastic, but about certain things. And it's a borrowed enthusiasm also. Fine. So, and another reason can be you were having strong enthusiasm because we did not do offenses much, but now we are doing offenses, so our enthusiasm is curbed because of that as well. So another reason for less enthusiasm is familiarity. So when we think I'm familiar with the process, I'm familiar with the people, I'm familiar with the environment, enthusiasm goes down because one thinks there is nothing new about it. It is something which I've already experienced. So the freshness is gone. So then enthusiasm is less, excitement is less, isn't it? Anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, devotional service is ahetuke aparatihata. You said that what is the meaning of that?
Apratihata ahetuki. Ahetuki means not based on any condition, without any hetu, unconditional. And apratihata means without any uh, ahetuki apratihata, without any interruption. It's always constantly performed. That's the nature of pure devotional service. It's unconditional and non-interrupted. So it's pure. If it's not pure, there'll be conditions and there'll be interruptions.
And the other one you said determined enthusiasm from the knowledge. So without knowledge there is no because all of them not educated. Some of them they don't have the knowledge. Then they don't have the
Educated doesn't mean that you have to have modern education. Educated means you need to have some knowledge of the philosophy of practice of Krishna consciousness. That much little knowledge will come even if you don't attend a course. Still, if you do regular Shravanam, you'll have that knowledge. So Shravanam, everyone can do. No? You don't have to be educated to do Shravanam.
So with knowledge, determined enthusiasm will come. And you
Yeah,
said
with
2
knowledge. Yes.
and these two you said knowledge and enthusiasm, right?
I didn't get your question.
When you said determined enthusiasm, you said from the knowledge. You said 2 points: knowledge and enthusiasm. These two are important, right?
What is the last line you are saying? Knowledge and
Enthusiasm,
wisdom. What is the last line of the whole statement?
knowledge
What?
and these two are the main.
I am not getting. So, hmm.
To get the determined enthusiasm, you said knowledge is important and enthusiasm is important, right? That's what I said. These two.
To get what? To get determination.
Yes, determine enthusiasm. To get determine enthusiasm, you get knowledge and enthusiasm is important, right?
To get enthusiasm, which is determined in nature, knowledge is important. That's what I said. To get enthusiasm, which is determined in nature, knowledge is important.
Okay.
Knowledge
Okay.
and faith. Faith is also there. Only knowledge doesn't help. You need to have faith also. Positive
Oh,
faith in the knowledge, in the process. Hmm.
okay.
Okay, so we stop here. See you tomorrow. Verse number 4. the 6 types of good association. We'll discuss that. Dadati prati grinati. That verse.